Okay, live is set up, so we should be good to start recording. I'm going to walk through how to record a test vocal real quick, and you want to do that so you can make sure your levels are set well and so you can hear what you sound like generally before recording a whole song and then finding problems down the line. If we look at this session, I have a beat from my homie Rummy loaded up in track 1. And just so you can see how easy that is, you can search for things in Live by hitting Command F. I have his beats imported in Live already, so I just searched for Rummy, and I can just drag over a beat to the timeline and start to use it that way. You can also drag a beat from your desktop or any folder on your computer. So wherever you have your instrumental located, just drag and drop it to the appropriate track, and you can start from there. Another real big point before we move further, the tempo is set to 78 BPMs. You set the tempo up here in the upper left corner. I know this beat is a 78 BPM beat because Rummy's a good producer and he tells you. But in case you don't have the BPM for your beat, like I said, just throw it into a piece of DJ software and you should be good to go. But you definitely want to set the tempo. There's certain delay tricks that require you to have the tempo set properly. And there's certain things with editing that you want to have the tempo set properly for. So let's collapse this. I need to now load up a track that we're going to record the vocal on. So let's use shortcuts. Shortcuts save you a lot of time. I'm going to hit Command T, and that's the shortcut for inserting a new audio track. You can also go to create audio track, but that's for noobs. So we have to set up a couple of things and make sure they're good before we can start recording. First things first, in this little selection box here, this is your input selection. Whatever inputs you have for your audio interface will show up here. My vocals go through channel 1 on my audio interface, so channel 1 is selected here, and that's exactly what we want. The next thing we want to make sure is configured properly is record enabling. So hitting this button here lets Live know that this is the track or this is the channel that I want to record currently. And the only other thing we want to potentially set up is the input monitor. And this depends on what kind of audio interface you have and what kind of thing you're recording. If your audio interface has direct monitoring or hardware monitoring, when you say something into the microphone, you'll be able to immediately hear a feed of it into your headphones. It doesn't go into the computer. It goes straight from the microphone to the audio interface to your headphones immediately. If you have a slow computer, that's often helpful because, again, if you route through your computer and it takes time to process, you'll hear a delay. Now, if we wanted to use something like auto-tune, or if we wanted to use any kind of effects that make our voice sound better while we're recording, we'll have to enable auto. And auto says, hey, Live, whenever recording is enabled on this track, I want to hear the processed vocal in my headphones. So we're going to do that here. So now I'm going to go ahead and record a test vocal, just the first couple of bars. When you're recording a test vocal, you're doing this so you can hear your volume. You're doing this so you can hear your tone and make adjustments. And so with that in mind, deliver the vocal exactly like you would the real recording. It doesn't make sense for you to half-ass it because you're not going to half-ass your real recording. And so the volume's going to be different. The tone's going to be different. Treat this test like the real thing so you can hear what the real thing sounds like and make any adjustments you need to. So let's give this a start. Recording is enabled. I'm going to hit the master record button up here and start to lay down a little bit of this verse. My people don't get funny style contracts, I send the bread. I ask for proof for your end of service, they send your head. Dreams are infinite till you hit with that infrared. That data scan change a man to digits and lead. LCD 8K, LEDs ain't as bright as my future. I'm studying Kama Sutra and Fallujah. Scholarly, lead with honor, G, you corny as harmony. My skill a real anomaly, it's easy shit honestly. So that's a couple of lines and enough for us to see how things sit. So I'm going to hit the tab button, and that brings me over to the other view in Ableton. This is session view. Sessions view is used for making beats and live performances, but it also gives you a better look at your VU meter for your tracks. And so I'm going to play things back and check where my vocals are sitting to see if I need to make any adjustments. I hit stop twice to go to the beginning of the song, and now I'm going to play this back. My people don't get funny style contracts, I send the bread. I ask for get into service, they send your head. So I'm pretty comfortable with where that's sitting. I always try to sit vocals in live with a little bit of headroom. Headroom is the space between where your loudest part is and 0 on the meter clipping. I try to hit between 6 and 12 consistently without any effects, and that gives me room in case I say something a little bit too loud, but it's also loud enough to get the recording heard. So we have a pretty good level. I like where the mic is sitting here. Take this recording when you're doing it for yourself, listen to it a couple times, see if anything stands out as weird. A little quick way to quickly audition your audio. If you move your cursor to the top section of the ruler here, clicking around the numbers allows you to drag and scroll around and change the zoom. And then if you go a little bit further down, your cursor turns into a speaker. And now you can start playback from anywhere on the timeline just by clicking it. Any style contracts, I send the bread. Okay. So if you hear things that you don't like in terms of tone, it's a good opportunity to change your mic placement, change your stance, maybe back up off the mic if you're getting too much boom, get closer if you're not getting enough volume. Change your mic gain if you're clipping or if your vocals are too loud. This is your last shot at checking the tone before we commit to really recording. So really take advantage of it, and then we'll actually start recording this verse.